Welcome to your May 12th Power Hour meeting with Katelyn, Carly, and Clare Fulton. Claire's going to hopefully talk about all things with the T word. Are we done with that now?
I'm done with that guy.
Good. I'm going to talk to you about rules on how to not go to TRREB or RICO jail, and Katelyn's going to teach you how to make money. So that's helpful.
I get the fun stuff.
That's right. Happy Mother's Day to those that celebrated this past weekend. Did anyone try to run an open house? I know there was a lot of agents looking for help to host, and did you ran an open house? Or did you run the one that you were looking for someone to do? Oh, you just did your own. Yeah.
Did you run on a Mother's Day or like all weekend?
And did people come?
Around 18-20.
Oh.
18-20 people came through?
18-20
Wow.
Groups.
Over the both days?
So no agents that want to do open houses, but there's 20 people that want to go to these open houses.
Yeah. I landed up not landed up, but I spoke to Claire. After open house, 3 people, they wanted to submit an offer, but I have a challenge. My client, seller, they are trying to upgrade.
Yes.
They filed consumer proposal 7 years back, so their mortgage could be a problem. Hence, when I take the offer on Thursday, I need to make sure next 3 days that their mortgage will be approved when they go for a buy. Otherwise,
I see.
I'll end up selling.
Yes. So what he's saying is his buyers are just trying to get their pre-approval to be able to upgrade. So it's kind of conditional on them getting financing, which, that makes sense.
Otherwise, sale is not a challenge.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
Offer date on that?
Yeah, Thursday.
Okay. So
that's why you had a lot of people then.
Yeah. So it's fresh. Yeah, I am hearing that open houses are pretty successful that first week that you list, like when it's brand new, fresh.
And underlisted.
Yeah, I think the more that time goes by, the less likely people are to show up, but you never know, I guess. Yeah. Anyone else run open houses?
I just want to just touch on it just a little bit here, just so, anybody here do open houses or no? Or open houses worthwhile? I'm just curious. So I'm not sure anybody heard it online or not there, but we did an open house, and we were looking for somebody to hold an open house. The listing agent was busy, but you couldn't get anybody, so you did it yourself. So we held the open house, just a story. And 12, 18 groups went through in the last 2 days, and 3 people wanted to put offers in. So I'm just saying.
And they didn't have agents.
So
or they did.
So we get opportunities to do open houses. Maybe you're not comfortable in that particular neighborhood or that particular area, but there's business out there if you want to look for it. The next thing he said, just so you know, when a seller goes under power of sale and CMHC has to pay the bank because it's a CMHC insured mortgage, so the seller would claim bankruptcy, the bank would lose their equity in the mortgage that they've given, not equity, but the mortgage they're given. It's under CMHC, so CMHC pays the bank, but what CMHC does, they'll they'll red flag that buyer that they can't buy anything, and they can't. Once CMHC has to pay out insurance, and that same buyer goes to buy another CMHC insurance, they're not going to get it. There are penalties for this, right? And this is what happened.
Yes.
Everybody follow what I'm saying here?
So what was the solution to that?
We don't know yet because we don't know whether they can get finance or not. So now.
I thought you told them to put a condition as sellers.
No. We just found out that the buyer, the seller, previously.
Yeah.
How they own this house, by the way?
No, I think when they purchased the property 7 years back, that 20% they were not able to lose. Whatever. So they managed somehow. They raised the consumer proposal, but they managed to pay that. So technically their records might be clean, but it is still still on the system.
All right, so it's a little difficult anyway. So just the moral of the story is if CMHC has to pay off a mortgage, they're not going to give that same person another mortgage through CMHC. Yeah. They're going to wait minimum 7 years, just like bankruptcy. If you go on bankruptcy, after 7 years you become clear, but...
so did you put in a condition for your sellers to review, or is it only conditional on buyers?
They never got an offer.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not even
on
yet.
Thursday.
Yes.
So it might be an option.
That's what Nelson's trying to say.
Thursday.
Overnight, is he going to put a condition on the seller?
Hopefully he's going to find out before Thursday what the deal is.
Yeah.
If you don't, you have to make...
They never told me. I mean, situation is I listed it in the morning 9 o'clock. 11 o'clock I came to know from mortgage guy. Sandeep, their mortgage will never be approved.
Yeah.
Because RBC flagged it.
Yeah. So we have another case in this room. I won't point out who, but that's more similar to what you're saying. It's already too late. They've already bought, and now we're trying to assign it to the brother. We're trying to find a whole new buyer because she is red flag. They won't give her a mortgage. She can't even be near the deal at all. It's closing in 4
Also
weeks.
the same situation?
It's a different situation, and they're in the room today too. That one's already firm. They've got 4 weeks now to assign it, and they got the brother to take it over. And the moral of that story is that buyers are liars also. So this person never told anybody that they were in this situation. They didn't tell the mortgage broker, didn't tell the lawyer, didn't tell the agent. They went bankrupt in times past. And she's got some stuff going on, can't get a mortgage. So that one's too late. So not just sellers' due diligence right now. You got to find out from your buyers too what their past situations are. Right? You almost need like a mortgage verification for buyers now. Right? Oh no,
We just go by their word.
We heard of another one this week that's, it was, they put it on the buyers to find out.
So, CMHC paid to the bank right away, or they asked them to try 3 times?
I don't know. I don't know the details. All I know is that CMHC won't approve these guys because CMHC had to pay the bank.
So they do it right away. Red flag.
Well, this happened a bunch of years ago. So.
So I guess the question is, have you ever defaulted on a mortgage in your past if you're not a first-time home buyer?
So just so you know, when you guys don't have access to this, but as an agent, you don't have access to personal files, right? So you couldn't find out yourself without doing sheriff certificates or doing what the lawyers do, sheriff certificates and checking all the other things that they check, right? We don't have access to that information.
Yep.
So we pretty much have to take the client's word for it.
That's true. So did anyone else run open house? Did anyone online? Sometimes Sebastian perks up. Yeah, it was quiet. I guess people were celebrating Mother's Day. It's not a bad thing. We can't hate on you for that, but there's still real estate to be had out there, right? Maybe this week will be a little bit busier, but then we have that long weekend. There's going to be an excuse. No, it's summer now, right? So.
Now it's summer. Now we're not doing.
And what time is it? It's actually full moon right this second.
That's right.
No.
12:40 something there is a full moon.
12:56 right now is a full moon. We'll be peeking up there somewhere. So it's the flower moon today. The May full moon flower moon.
Hopefully not long.
Usually 2 days before and 2 days after
2 days before,
for me.
2 days
so.
after.
The men get heavily affected by this.
Do you guys know the full moon's a weird thing, man? I find weird things happen on a full moon.
There's actually science that shows there is more pedestrian and car accidents on the days of full moon than any other days of the week. There's actually statistics that show there's more car accidents and pedestrian accidents. I don't know what it is. But yeah, it's right now, so that's good. Well, do you want to tell us about the market then?
Okay, the market. All right. So let's talk about Mr. T.
See, I knew you were going to talk about
Mr.
it.
T. Who's Mr. T? Yeah, Mr. T, right?
There's 2 Mr. T.
If you check the stock market today, actually I checked it last night. If you check the TSX as of Friday is around 25,350. It started the year off at 24,800. So we're ahead in the TSX. We're ahead in the stock market today than we were in January 1st. That's good news.
Yeah, it is good.
Trump and China, if you can believe what he says, and I don't believe anything because he changes his mind all the time, but somehow Trump and China are manipulating the markets, and they said they had some kind of deal going on. I don't know if they do or they don't. But as we speak, the Dow Jones is up 2%, the Nasdaq's up 900 points, so everybody's happy with all these points. So if the TXX is getting back, the stock market's getting back, maybe the world's getting some kind of normal, then there's no reason why we can't move forward. All we have to do is fix our RO tariff things with Canada. There's no reason why we won't be back on track.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. So if you've got buyers out there that are thinking about buying, but they want to wait, don't wait too long.
Yeah.
All right. Was it June 3rd or 6th? I forget the time. One of those dates there that we're going to be announcing the next interest rate announcement.
Yeah.
So I think it's all. I think good news is coming. So I think the spring market is here.
I guess
Are they
there's.
going to reduce the interest rate this time?
I think they will.
They have the economy itself needs some boost, right? So I know the Americans did not increase theirs, but
I think because they held the last one, I speculate that they'll do another quarter, just to help boost things just in time for summer, because our spring market's a little delayed almost, right?
Stats. So we came in. I think we got the real stats from May.
Yeah.
And we haven't talked about those, but the real stats came in, and we're about last year we had about 7,300 sales. In May this year, we had 5,600 minus 23%. So that's a big number down, 23%. If you divide it though, if you look at the 416, for instance, 416 detached homes, the unit sales are only down 2.2%. Semi-detached houses in the 416 are actually up 5.4%. Townhouses are down 22%. Condominiums are down 30% in the 416.
Makes sense.
Those are sales, right?
Yeah.
So you have to take the two away. So you really have to, you look at the headlines. Like this headline here is pretty bad. So, but you have to use it to your advantage. It says, this is the Toronto Star, I believe. No, Financial Post. Toronto home sales plunged 23% from a year ago and prices down 4%. And the condos plummeted 30%. So that's the headline, right? So that's a good headline. So if you're somebody here just mentioned to me they've got a property that's for sale and it's not selling, what do you think the problem is? Right? It's price, right? It's always price, right? So you got to show them articles like this because your buyers are reading this. The buyers are reading this thinking, hey, the prices are dropping, so why would the buyer give whatever the seller's looking for? I mean, they're telling the buyer's reading this just like the sellers are.
Yep.
So you have to use that to your advantage, right? And say it's there. Mr. Seller, like, we've been in the market for 21 days. We've had 21 showings. It's time to do a price adjustment. Make it very mechanical. It's not emotional at all.
Yep.
Well, I paid this for it. That's irrelevant, right? Because it's whatever it's worth. They're saying that the new listings are up 18%. Active listings, as I checked last night, were around 27. What is it?
29,000.
29,000 active listings. That's quite a bit.
30,000.
29,700.
Sales themselves, the minus 4%, but Shiv's not here, but Shiv says, like, who cares what happened last year? What happened in last month? Right?
Yep.
So if you check last month, the average sale price was $1,092,000. Average price for April is now $1,007,000. So it's actually up $20,000 or so.
1,000,017 or
1,107,000.
107?
And last month it was 1,092,000. So it's up, big deal. It's up, what, 7 plus 7 or plus 8, $15,000 average price. But if I look at individual prices, they're going there. So the market's okay. It's not the end of the world.
That includes condos.
Yeah. If I look at the condo prices, 416 again, detached prices dropped 6.8, semis dropped 7.2, townhouses actually went up 0.7, and condos dropped 7.3. So it's there, but I still think things are picking up. I read this last night, believe it or not, from the Times of New York. No, so the Times of India. I read all the papers, man. They announced this before anybody else did, saying here that the U.S. announced its trade deal with China after 2 days of negotiating in Geneva. Differences were not so large. So and does anybody remember what they knocked it? It was like 145%, and they knocked it down to 30%. So they knocked it. Yeah, they knocked off 115%.
For temporarily, though.
And so did China. So that's good. And I'm reading stuff like in the port of Seattle, I believe it was, and also in Los Angeles, but Seattle in particular, there's no ships there at all, container ships coming from China.
Well, yeah.
Wow.
There's none.
Well, yeah, because
And Los Angeles port, there's I don't know, I'm guessing here, there's 50% of the ships are coming in. So something's going to happen. It's going to happen soon. They're going to have a bit of a shortage soon. So there we are. If I go to May 11th, we've got 29,700 listings as of last night, so I'm sure it's about the same. 13,000 are condos, 16,000 are freeholds. Of the vacants, 35% of the properties listed for sale right now are vacant. Only 17% of freeholds are vacant, but 44% of condominiums are vacant. So that's an interesting number
Yeah.
too, and that makes sense, right? Sales are from last year, they're minus 23%. Freeholds is minus 17, condominiums are minus 32%. Wow. So condominiums are taking
Not
a hit
bad.
right now, right?
yeah.
And I'm reading they're taking a hit because of what they're selling. Nobody wants.
Yeah, they built them for an investor market. So they built a bunch of studios and one bedrooms because they were building for investors, and now there is no investors, and now they're trying to backtrack and build for end users. But now we've got an oversupply of tons of 500 square foot condos. No one wants to rent them or buy them. Right?
Who here has condos for sale? Anybody here? You have me?
No.
Hey, I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you a story about mine. Anybody else? No
Yeah, we do.
condominiums?
We have
No?
one yet.
And what's happening? You got the big one, right? You want to talk?
Two condos waiting for right price.
So you've got
waiting for the right price.
I like that one.
Not the right buyer, the right price.
I like that.
Both are rented and the owners are
Okay, that's
motivated,
tougher, yeah.
so they are not.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're not motivated, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And how about your $2 million? You want to talk about your $2 million property?
It's over 1,600 square.
1,600 square foot for $2 million.
They say that's what people want, so.
It's a penthouse with 2 parking, 2 lockers, and the locker is a private room for the
Oh, wow. For their
buyers,
stuff.
and everything is upgraded.
Midtown
Any
Toronto.
showings?
And, Midtown.
Yeah.
Showings?
First day, 2 people showed it,
Okay.
and they said, oh, it's priced fair, it's this, that, but no further feedback.
It's gonna take time
Why are you
though.
laughing?
So what's the building? Where's the building?
Eglinton.
Is that a building?
We already said it's in Midtown.
Okay. 101. What's the
That's not
address?
downtown. No,
What's the
Erskine.
What's the address?
Penthouse 10. 101 Erskine.
There you go.
Erskine. Okay. 101 Erskine's.
Everyone was trying so hard to get
that's a
that.
Tridell building, right?
Yeah, try to.
It's a Tridell building, and that's yeah. So
Tridell
that's
built,
yeah. It's been there for a while. Okay.
And the upgrades, they've got everything.
Do you have any idea what they paid for it?
Sorry?
Do you have any idea what they paid for it?
No,
Okay.
but I can check.
I'm just curious. Yeah.
No,
Just
they're the original owners.
yeah, but it's only but the building's how old though? It's only
Yeah, just a couple of.
it's a couple of years old, right? I'm just curious whether they're selling at a loss or a profit or what they're doing.
Well, I'm sure at least they'll sell it. Right now it's vacant, ready to go.
So, okay, good. Anybody else? No.
You've got a condo up for sale, you don't know if you're making money.
So sales over 101%. 26% of property sold for over asking. So if some people say, how should I list a property? Should I list it low and sell high? I always say yes, particularly in today's market. So it works 26% of the time. If it was a freehold, it worked 30% of the time. If it was a condo, it worked 16% of the time.
Yeah.
Condo 16%.
16% of the time. Daily sales, 179 per day, just so if everybody's doing that. April sales were actually down 9% from April. But again, it's only been 11 days. Leases, 17,000 active leases, 10,000 are condos, 7,000 are freeholds. On the vacant side, they're about the same. 55% of all leases are vacant, both freeholds and condos, about 55%. Leases themselves are up 7% from last year, but they're actually down 18% from April last year. I asked you guys last week, I had my own personal property that I was trying to sell, and I said I'd put it for sale and I'd put it for lease at the same time and let someone else decide who wins.
Sold.
I didn't get a single showing for sale, and I leased it in what? We leased it in 2 days.
2 days.
So it's gone already.
And it closes in like a week.
And it closes on Friday.
Well, you leased it.
Yeah, at least it gone.
How much?
$27.50.
So it's only $100 less than what you got
$150
before.
less than what I was getting before, so I think that was a good deal, right?
Yeah.
So luck comes in.
You know what I noticed about the downtown condos versus the suburbs is a lot of the time the downtown condos are parents paying for it too. They're much more stable tenants downtown versus outside of the
Yeah.
town.
I think it's a younger professional. People
Yeah, it's
who
very
are working
interesting.
downtown. It's not like the mature type person who's
Yeah.
working, commuting.
So Sanic did the pricing on this one here. You said 27, I think it was, right? Yeah, 27.50 because same unit still went for 27.50. So I wasn't trying to get the 2,900 I got before. I realized it's off about $150, so I thought $200 a month it was off. So that's what we asked, and we were the cheapest. We're the cheapest place with parking, so I made sure that happened, and away it went.
Meanwhile, we have a lease listing in Whitby with, I think it's just finally done. I don't want to jinx it. We're in the middle of
Yeah,
it.
that's what it was.
It's over 40 showings, 10 offers, and barely
40
any
showings.
qualified tenants. It took
That's
us
what
a
I'm saying.
long
The
time to
suburbs is
find
weird.
a qualified person. Downtown, it took
I
one
noticed
day.
it. I noticed the suburbs are like outside of downtown core, the tenant quality is not as
And-
good as the downtown
Yeah.
core for.
Our landlord was realistic. She wasn't too
Yeah.
crazy. She's just realistic, and it took a while.
very-
Even we had
interesting.
an offer, we thought it was gonna go through.
They backed
and
out?
then we backed out.
Yeah.
Time is of the essence.
I even get less calls because I have a lot of rentals all over the city. In downtown, I get less calls from agents a lot of the time agents will send their clients documents to say if they're qualified because they know they got a low credit score, something's wrong. Downtown Toronto, not a single agent sent me their documents before they showed it. It's
Interesting,
very,
eh?
Very interesting.
Good.
Fascinating.
I got lots of stuff there, but so do you too. So
I have lots of stuff.
I'll
Yeah,
let you
there was
go
a lot
ahead.
of stuff in the news. I don't know if it, I don't know, just a lot of information. So I guess we'll talk about condos a little bit. Toronto has about, they're saying 1 full year's of inventory of unsold condominiums. That's a lot of condos. 1 year's supply. Well,
I thought we only had 6 months supply.
There's 13,000 units in all of GTA. This is probably with pre-construction,
Okay.
unsold, not just
I was like,
resale. No, this is just what their inventory of what
Okay.
they're trying to sell. About a 30% failure rate for condo closings in Toronto, with buyers walking away from pre-construction deposits. And this is what Claire and I were talking about. Many of these unsold condos are about 500 square feet or less. Yeah. Right. We were building them way wrong, and then Toronto and BC are getting hit the most. So it's good opportunities if you've got buyers that are looking to invest. But I have another article that saying people are just really not investing right now, and it's more the end users. Probably what your type of buyer is going to end up being, someone looking for a larger condo. And now they're trying to start to build that back up. But they had about 20 years of this investor-driven pre-construction market that they just built them for investors. And now they're seeing the hit of that with this over amount of supply.
Has anybody heard any clients walk away from their pre-construction?
You have?
Just lost the deposit, and I guess
She had
more.
to negotiate, like, with her lawyer said when they got a mutual release, they never sued, but full deposit back.
Full deposit going.
And they got a mutual lease?
Is Young and Eglinton? Is Young and Eglinton?
Is the unit ready?
Young and Eglinton.
No, no, no. Not that. It's the Liberty one.
Oh, Liberty.
Yeah.
So did the builder let them go?
They let them go.
Let that go,
Just for the deposit?
It took a while of negotiations.
Yeah.
They wanted, I think, more money or something. and
Yeah.
I know it was many months.
Same situation with yours, Juan?
Yeah, it's still not finalized, but it's in occupancy. It's only 320 square feet.
Oh, wow.
Oof.
Commerce Street in Vaughan.
In
Vaughan,
Vaughan.
tiny.
So they bought it in 2022. It's a young person. Yankees won't give a firm closing date still. She doesn't want to put a tenant in because she really would like to sell it.
Yeah.
Or I guess let it go. So
Yeah.
at this point she can't get a mortgage. So she's working with her mom to see if maybe they can get a mortgage, work towards closing and then sell it. But it doesn't seem helpful. It's quite messy.
Yeah. Was her intent when they bought it was to flip it, or was the intent for her to move into it and close on it and her situation changed, or?
Was for her to move into it.
Yeah, so that's happening too.
I just put her in a rental down in Queen and Dufferin. She has no interest in living in Vaughan.
Aw.
So it's one of these things where the mother encouraged her to buy a pre-construction unit and the whole thing was really Vaughan.
So it wasn't you, it was mom. Okay,
Yeah,
good. No
mom's
blame.
idea, so
All right.
mom's
Wow,
back
that's
in-
interesting.
And mom won't step in to help?
She's trying.
Okay.
She's got a mortgage on the property already and so
Aw.
get a second mortgage to close this one.
Jeez.
Yeah, and the hard part is even when you do close, you put it on MLS, now you've got a 300 square foot condo in Vaughan to try to sell at a price that she probably paid 5 years ago.
And the
so-
area is interesting. Like, there's a lot of construction. Well, like, in my opinion, it looks like maybe 5 years from now, it'll kind of feel like a nice downtown area. But at the moment, it's just big condos and an idea.
Yeah, that's so fascinating. So I was reading an article about someone's talking about selling pre-construction in New York and how Toronto should follow suit, because in New York they get a construction loan first, then they build the building, and then they sell the unit. So they have a direct connection with the end user. They're building it directly for somebody that's going to move in. They can stage it, they can market it, they can showcase it.
And
Where
sell it at
in
today's
Toronto,
price.
we have to sell them to get the loan. You have to take these pre-sales to the bank and say, hey, look, I sold 70 to 80%. Now I need a loan. And now you're totally disconnected from the end user because you're building them for somebody, an investor who's only looking at them as an investment opportunity, not to the end user. And so this person's saying, why don't we follow that in New York? There is risks, of course, from doing that as well, because you don't know for sure it's going to close and it's going to sell when it's built. But places like London, Berlin, Tokyo, that's how they sell pre-construction in these big major cities. And Toronto's a little bit unique where we have to sell about 80% of them pre-sale to even get the loan and get the financing. So it's created this frenzy of investor selling, which worked for about 10, 20 years, and now it's just not working
And are
anymore.
these guys, the way they do it, are they selling it at today's price, like versus us
Yeah.
selling it in like
Yeah,
hopefully
yes.
in 3 years from
Yes.
now the price will be this?
Yes,
like that's
because
how
it's ready.
we sell
It's
it.
ready today. Here's the unit.
So
You
it's
can
all
move right
safer.
in. You're buying today. Now the risk is they still have about 30% in New York of units that are unsold. So it's not like they're perfect or they're all selling. They still have probably smaller units and not desirable units, but it's just a more direct connection with the end user and building what they foresee people are going to want to move into it. Less of an investor just doing their cash flow ROI and trying to make the most money they can. So it'll be interesting to see, because right now in Toronto, all we're doing is building pre-built, purpose-built rentals. I'm seeing now people cooperating on those. So not to say you need to get into the rental market necessarily, but if you want to, pay a couple extra bills, there are condo units now, Midtown and in North York, that are cooperating 1 month's commission for rental, and they're giving the tenant 2 months free rent. So now these rental are a little bit higher than probably what you're going to get on the resale market, right? They're probably going to be smaller units, but some of them are furnished even as well. So something to consider too. But people are saying that condo prices are expected to drop another 10%, at least on the resale market this year. So if you've got sellers who are waiting for a better market, you want to tell your sellers, you better get on the market now before more inventory comes out. And if you've got a buyer in the condo market, it's not a bad idea as well. I mean, we've got a lot of single females buying condos right now. It's great for those people that buy an appropriately sized condo. So not bad. But will be interesting to see what happens with the condo market. Jump clear. I have more stuff.
Yeah, so
too.
all my stuff here is all negative stuff.
No, it's positive.
I'm just gonna give you the headlines, and that's it.
Okay.
If you got any sellers that, well, we got 29,000 active listings, so we must have listings out there that aren't selling,
Exactly, yeah.
right? So the headlines: Toronto area home prices finally start to fall as buyers gain negotiating power. Right. So what was the months of inventory? It's 4.9 or something there. So 4.9, and condominium on resale condominiums, month of inventory is I think 6.7, and for everything else it was 4.9. So if you add the pre-construction inventory, that goes up to 12 to 1. But I haven't seen inventory. Where's that inventory? I guess the builders are advertising it?
I guess through build it through hot sheets, they get a hold of that information.
But it's not on MLS, right?
It's not on
So-
MLS, no. So if they're using RealNet, might still be on there, or just might be people aggregating data.
Does
from
anybody know
builders.
what the builders are doing on these 30% of the people that aren't closing? That were So
I'm
if you-
hearing mixed things.
So if you're in that game, if you know all the sales managers and you've been selling pre-construction and 30% of the people aren't closing, I think I'd want to get their ear and put it on MLS. There might be a source to generate some business there as well,
Yeah.
right? Something to do that. But for sure, the buyers are starting to pick up there. This article here says that Toronto renting prices dropped again in April over last year. Will they continue to drop this summer? Who knows? I think with Mr. T there, you never know what's going to happen there. So, but definitely the price have dropped at least $150, $200. So
That would be a good thing for both rentals and houses, right? We want prices to come down.
Toronto's unsold condo rate has reached an incredible level. This is Ron Butler. Does anybody listen to Ron Butler? If you don't look him up. It's with Butler Mortgages, and the guy, when he's on radio, he's fine, but get him on his podcast. He's just he's fluent in swear words.
Oh, your favorite.
My favorite,
You love
right?
the
So it
swear
just completely destroyed. And I don't know if I trust him or not, but he's saying here, severely overbuilt. Same thing Kari's talking about. They built these condominiums for investors. They're currently 500 square feet or less. Nobody wants them. 30% failure rate. Butler says in Toronto is now roughly 30%. Okay, so I don't believe him. Okay, I was wondering where I know you read that. I was wondering where it came from. So if it's true, it's
I
true.
just
But
made it up.
I'd like to see it from a second source too. So, anyways.
You know what source might have it? There's a new application called Condo. I haven't bought into it yet. You guys have to tell me if it's worth the investment or not. It's a monthly subscription, but apparently it's a company that was built by agents who went out to the builders and started scrubbing their data with the builder's permission. So they get the hot sheet, get all the inventory, and they're aggregating it in this site. So I don't know if people are buying into it or not, but it's supposed to show you the amount of inventory that's out there, what incentives they're offering, what percentage the building is sold. It actually gives a bit of a CMA on these projects as well. It's $180 a month if you guys would use it, I could invest in it together, but that might be a source where they're getting some of this pre-construction data, because it's the only site that I know of that's aggregating it. And they're going just directly builder to builder, getting the information direct. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's condominium. This just goes on. When you thought that Toronto's condo market couldn't get any worse, it can. So it goes
Does that
on.
not make you want to buy a condo? Like, I kind of want to go out and buy a condo. I don't know, like, just, I kind of want to, it feels like the time.
In my mind, if they're not
Alex bought
building
a
new
condo.
condos, I guess we're going to have a shortfall.
Seems like fun.
I think you're going to have a demand for in a couple of years, I think.
I think so too, because now there's no start. So in 3 years, when people get their budgets back, they want to immigration starts back up again. They're going to want condos, and the only people that are going to have them are the ones that are built already. So I don't know.
How's that condo going?
He's going to let us know when it's done. We'll put you up here on a panel to.
Yeah.
Alex
Alex bought a cheap, needs a gut job condo, right? And you guys are gutting it right now to sell it, flip it.
Okay, you can go to a listing appointment. If you don't think it's saleable, you can just buy it yourself. I'll sell it. Don't worry.
I'll be your buyer.
I mean, we are resourceful. This is the industry we're in. Why not?
Yeah.
Right?
Be your
Nothing
own
wrong with
client,
that.
I guess.
Yeah. In terms of power of sales, so I wasn't tracking it too often, but I told somebody there was around 300, and then I lied because I looked it up, and it's right. There's about 600 now. So they did double in about the last month or two. Still not a lot compared to 29,000 total listings, but it is climbing, and that's what people were predicting. And just a reminder, too, power of sale is a little bit different than a foreclosure in the U.S. That's like very U.S. language. Power of sale is an effort for the bank to sell it at a sort of realistic market price, so it's not like you're getting a deal or anything crazy, so just keep that in mind. The bank wants to make the same money that they loaned on it too. They're not looking, they want to make their money back, right? So power of sale is just the bank selling it, but I get a lot of questions like, oh, my client wants to know about the foreclosures and the deals. Like, it's still market value. It's still putting it on MLS and competing with all the other resale houses, right?
I haven't heard that for so long. It used to be one time that you had clients there wanting to buy power sale listings, but I don't see that very often.
I still get that question once in a
Nelson,
while.
you get that?
Every so often you do, but at the end of the day, it's no representations, no warranties, you don't know
That's
if
right.
somebody's committed suicide, the bank knows nothing, so.
Good luck.
It's always a concern as well, right?
True.
Yeah, I'm sure they're not the most desirable properties. Like, yeah. No, I get the question, but
Yeah. So there's no big deal, I don't think. Power
No,
sale,
it's not,
power sale,
yeah.
whatever you get for power sale, you get a broken property, so you're paying for broken property.
Yeah.
By the time you pay to get it repaired,
yeah.
it's going to be the value of a new property. So it's really not. There's no advantage to it.
I don't know if it's valuable to anybody, but they just launched from Florida the Canadian Snowberg Visas Act. Does anyone have clients who are going to take advantage of that? For Canadian citizens age 50 plus, you can now stay in the U.S. It used to be 182 days. Now you can stay 240 days. So almost the entire year you can stay there. It applies to Canadians who own or lease a residence in the United States. So you can't just go visit there. You have to actually own or rent property there. And you would retain as a non-citizen for tax status under that legislation as well. So just in case you have clients that are thinking about, I don't think they are though. I'm hearing the reverse, that people are coming back here. I don't know what you guys are seeing or hearing, but I'm hearing about people coming back to Canada.
I'm hearing that Florida condos have a real problem.
Yeah, I am
because
too.
There was a building that collapsed and a bunch of people died a couple of years ago in Miami. So now they're making all the condominiums do what we do up here, and they're making sure they have reserve funds and they have engineered studies and they have everything else. So now everybody's interest or maintenance fees are being jacked up.
Yeah.
So that's one of the problems. Second problem is the insurance companies don't want to insure anybody along the beach in Miami and Florida and that
And
because
Fort
of
Myers,
hurricanes.
Yeah, so I heard Fort Myers. I heard like
Beach.
80% of the houses in Fort Myers are up on the market right now. I don't know if that's true, but I've heard it's a crazy amount
so
of
a lot of
inventory.
them can't get insurance at all, and so there's problems there. But I think there's another problem too. In Canada, you can't be down there more than 6 months plus a day anyways, then you don't qualify for your OHIP.
They're
Oh, yeah,
saying if
true.
you do, you'll still retain, that might apply to OHIP status as well. But you have to own or rent a property there. You can't just go and hang out at a hotel.
The only problem, you have to double check that because this is an American thing. So I'm not sure, I don't think Americans are going to tell Canada what
That's
to do
true.
about OHIP.
No, that's true. Yeah, OHIP might be totally
Well,
different.
because they tell us to do everything else, why not?
You're not wrong. So I'm reading about mortgage rates. 3% apparently is a magic number that buyers are waiting for. They did a survey. They said, what are you waiting for? The mortgage rates have come down. We held them. What are you waiting for? Apparently, they're waiting for 3%.
That's the
It's
number.
very close. It's probably about 1 or 2 more reductions to get to that. But apparently, that's the magic number that everyone's waiting for. And that kind of makes sense because when I bought in 2020, I secured 2.6, and that's what I'm comparing it against now, 5 years later. So it's, you kind of just want what you had before, right? So that 3%, I think we'll get there pretty soon. They're saying by the end of the year, if they keep on the schedule, even if they hold it in between.
So you think they'll keep dropping the rates?
I think they'll drop it, but not like aggressively where like every time they're going to drop it. I think they'll like drop, maybe hold,
They held the last
then
one.
drop, right? I think they'll probably balance it out, but it's going to depend on CPI and other things that, you know, around that time as well. Of that same survey, 40% said that, 40% of people say they needed to fall to 3% or lower before they would consider repurchasing. And that prices still haven't come down enough to match it. So that's why they're waiting. It's either got to be prices or interest rates. They're waiting for something to happen. And so far, prices have stayed kind of stable. Like they haven't come down that much relative to the interest rates. So
They're talking about the mortgage rate, or they're talking about the overnight rate?
the mortgage rate.
Itself.
Mortgage rate
Because
itself.
mortgage rates right now are 4.95.
Yeah.
That's a posted rate. What can you get a mortgage for today?
So I was offered 4.06 fixed 3-year or 4.22 variable 5-year. So they were pretty close. Like ChatGPT had a hard time helping me decide that as well. But
So it's a little ways to go then, 3%.
yeah. But apparently that's what buyers are waiting for, either that or prices to come down. So whichever one
They
comes
did.
first.
They already did.
Not much. Not in GTA 416 if you're buying a
Yeah.
detached house. But yeah, if you're buying a condo, maybe. It's true.
I feel like the news is scaring them.
It is. That's what causes all the headlines you just read. Like it's all this fear.
When
So
you actually look at what's sold, you'd be like, it doesn't match up.
No.
That's like every 5 times a day the song kept that
Yeah.
yeah. No, it's true. Most people are still needing help from family as well. So BMO did a survey as well. About 43% said that they wouldn't have been able to buy a house without family help. 80% of that is usually the parents helping them out as well. That's not new. That's been like that, trending for a while. I think you guys talked about last week when I wasn't here, but the average age of a first-time home buyer is now 40. Did you guys mention that in your last thing? Or it's older now.
For first-time buyers. Seems
First-time
old to me,
buyers.
doesn't it? Yeah.
It is old. It's 40 years. That's like, can you imagine if we stayed at your house until now?
Now, we'd still be there.
We'd still be living
Carly
there.
would just leave the nest.
Can you imagine we could all carpool to work together? Good morning.
Are you saying we should move in?
Maybe we should.
Yeah, I think we're going to trend backwards.
Baby.
I think so.
Dad kicked us out at 18.
All right, should I remind you guys about some TRREB rules? Because I had a fun TRREB course, and then I have other stuff that I can save as well. It's also Realtor Quest this week, which I know Katelyn's going to mention, but did you guys know that the TRREB's having their spring meeting on
That's
Wednesday?
wild. In the morning.
There's a bylaw vote. Have you guys been reading that or keeping it up, reading your emails?
For your fees, right?
Yeah, so they want you to vote on a new bylaw. You have to say if I'm getting this right or not, because you confused me this morning. So you have two options. So right now, your membership fees, there's a CPI increase every year to that. That's why it goes up slightly. It's based
Actually,
on...
no.
No?
No, there's no CPI right now.
That's what it says, though. See, I knew it was going to... Okay, well, then you explain it, because I understand it totally different.
Okay, so you've got to vote on 9:15 or 9:45?
9:15 on
9:15.
Wednesday.
9:15 on a Wednesday at
In
Realtor
person.
Quest. There's a vote, membership vote, and a lot of people are complaining, saying that it's not practical for all the members to vote on these types of things. It should be online, or it shouldn't be
Yes,
in
yeah.
person. It has to be on person, or you can give your proxy to somebody else, but somebody's going to vote on this thing. They're saying that there's not enough notice, and so on and so forth. TRREB says there's all kinds of notice, just that people don't read the notices. Okay, so there's two things. But how many people here knew that TRREB was doing a fee election or voting on Wednesday? Anybody here pay attention to that?
Nice.
All right. And
That's
what
funny.
See, what happens there in when you log into Realm or you log into Toronto MLS, I bet you everybody goes straight to Realm. Nobody reads the dashboard.
Just
Am I
goes
right?
straight to search.
Dismiss.
You go straight to search,
Dismiss.
right? In fact, some people probably have their home page. They probably made their home page the search, not the dashboard. But if you went to the dashboard, you'd see these types of things. But there's two things that they want to do, and I could be wrong.
It says right here, either proactively increase dues each year by the maximum allowed amount under the cost of living in our current bylaw, or in the new bylaw, it's going to allow you to split up your fees in two, because people have been complaining about that, but it also allows the board to propose increases based on real, true, like money that they need. So let's say they have a legal case, they need more money, because right now they're running a deficit. So the new bylaw would allow them to propose something. You would still be able to vote on it. The membership has options to vote, but right now you don't vote on your increases. They do the cost of living, and they're saying that's not enough. So I don't know what the right answer is, truly. In my mind, it's better to just let cost of living increases every year because you can budget that and manage that, let them run the funds like they need to. On the other hand, if they're running as a deficit, which is confusing, but $7 million deficit, then it does tell me that they're in a shortfall.
So here's what's going on, I believe. Okay, so
Yeah,
I've
well, that's a RIA.
But let me know if I'm reading this
No, I
incorrectly.
think, okay. So what I guess the bylaws allow them to increase your fees by CPI, but they haven't been doing it. But the bylaws allow it.
Well, they're saying the
So
new
what
bylaw.
they've done in the past, they've gone to membership and say, we want to increase the dues, and what do you think? And everybody votes, and then they do it. I think that's what's happening. But anyways, the bigger one here is they want to charge you $25 times 2 if you want to make your payments in 2 payments rather than 1.
$50.
Oh.
Right now, you have to pay the $2,000, whatever it is, you got to
in
pay.
December.
In December, you got to pay your TRREB dues, your RIA dues, your CREA dues, your insurance. So it's like 25. I don't know, was it 20?
2,000.
It's like
$1,900.
just over 2,000.
It's $2,000. So they're saying if you want to, you can break it in 2. You can pay half in December and half in June.
But they're going to charge you $25.
They're going to charge you $25 for the
to
fee.
do that. I don't want that to happen because I'm going to be searching all of you guys December and in June, whatever it is, making sure you all pay and that you're legally able to be on the board. I don't really want to do that twice a year. But anyways, the main thing is like I was at my TRREB course and everyone's complaining, and we all complain, but then no one's going to show up to vote. No one's going to go 9 o'clock on Wednesday to vote.
9:15 in Mississauga.
I'm going to go out of principle so that when I complain, they can't be like, well, you can't complain and not vote. You can't have it both ways. But it is unfair. We should be able to vote online. There's 73,000 of us. Like there's no way we're all going to be there Wednesday morning to do this. But that's the process. So
You're going to have to get there at like 7 a.m. on Wednesday.
yes.
You have to leave
That
at 7.
I
lineup
have
is
to leave
insane.
7. I'm going to sleep over there tomorrow
Yeah,
night.
we're just
like-
getting hotels. We're going to be there.
that's the one thing they always come back when everyone complains, well, did you go vote? Were you there? And so you can't have, it's true. You can't complain if you're not going to show up and read the emails and not even understand kind of what's happening. Otherwise, just pay the increase in fees every year, right?
So I think that's a no vote. That's
what I'm saying.
That's an easy vote.
That's what I was saying
No.
this morning. I think
No,
I'm going to vote no, and you stay with the cost of living and you do that.
But as far as the 2 payments go, sorry, the 2 payments, that's an easy one because you can make your choice.
Yeah.
Either do it or don't do it. That's cost you whatever it costs. But the other one here, they want to get away from. I read they want to get away from CPI and make it and have the board of directors choose without having to go to the
Yes,
membership.
that would be the new bylaw. If you voted yes for the
The new bylaw will allow the board of directors
Yes.
to decide on your behalf what the fees are going to be without
Yes.
having you to have a vote or without having to go to the membership to get input.
Yikes.
That's the crutch of it.
They're probably already not
they're
getting
building
involved.
they're building this flexible dues into this bylaw so that they're trying to explain that's how I'm reading it. They're trying to give you this option to say, hey, you can split your fees, but you have to vote yes for this new bylaw in order for us to do that.
That's fine. So that's an easy one, that one.
So if you
But,
want to go,
but it's too bad they combine them both.
they're just that's how they're trying to market
So
it.
I don't want to say anything because we're being
I know,
I'm not sure we're
exactly.
being tricked or not, but it looks like they put 2 things. Like I'm
Yes.
okay with splitting it in 2,
Yeah,
but I'm not sure I'm comfortable
That's right.
with the board of directors deciding on their own without having to go to membership
but they're connected.
what their fees are going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what they're also saying in their defense, they're saying there's $7 million deficit.
I don't know.
$7 million deficit
No, they're saying
No, we're in
deficit.
deficit.
because they haven't. Remember we got holidays. Didn't we get a $50 holiday or something? Or
Is it from
last
Prop
TRREB
Tech?
dues?
That's,
Prop
that's a
Tech?
separate
It's gotta be
division.
Prop.
though.
Oh.
No, it's all the same thing.
Their TRREB owns PropTech, but PropTech is a for-profit technology division. TRREB, as a board, is a not-for-profit division.
I'm just trying to think whether they had more reserves, so they didn't increase the fees because they have reserves, and the reserves pay for the $7 million.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be able to see it in their financial statements too. So.
Right?
yeah, yeah.
Anyway, so who all's going to realtor class? If you're going to go,
Yeah.
go.
Wednesday
be there
at
for
9:15. Well, be there at 7:15, I guess. It's gonna be insane. The line. I don't know if you guys have been before, but that lineup goes around the building.
I bet that's because we showed up at like 11.
We went at 1.
I think the earlier probably easier. Yeah, and you don't need to do what we did, which is like sneaking around. So.
That was a
But
full
so no one
meeting.
put their hand up. That means no one's going. Is anyone
No
online
one's going?
Okay, there is hands.
Just Michael
Okay.
goes for the free stuff
Okay,
for sure.
Okay, so there is going. Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of free stuff. Apparently, Century 21 listened to our feedback. They're gonna have bags this year.
Century 21 Heritage is
Aw,
gonna
man.
have bags. So go to
Well,
the Century 21 Heritage
okay.
booth if you guys want to see two bag.
I thought it was gonna be them too because there's 2 booths, so agents can have their own booth as well. Okay. What time is it? Should I even go over?
It's 1:34.
Do you have more stuff you want to?
No, you go. You finish.
I've talked about this before, so unfortunately, I think I'm talking kind of to the wrong people. So I'm hoping that maybe somebody online or is going to watch this later. But you guys know these rules already. I had to take a course that reminds me of these rules, so it's good that I remind you as well. So some of the top 5 MLS breaches that we see, and I see this like every day. We get a notification of somebody doing something like this, and the girls know as well, but it's hard to catch. Solicitation in public remarks. So in your client remarks or anything public facing, you can't say things like call me for more information, contact me for a showing, any sort of like branding, marketing that you're soliciting type people. You can't do that in a public type information. So we'll get a DIS notice for that. You could say something in your brokerage remarks to talk to the agents directly, but not soliciting to the public. Missing taxes. So we were doing a lot of pre-construction sales and things that don't have taxes assessed. That's okay. You can put $0, but you have to qualify it in brokerage remarks with why you put $0. Otherwise, you can't just have 0 without any sort of comment. So it'd be $0 and then taxes to be assessed, taxes yet to be assessed, something like that in the brokerage remarks. So keep in mind, they have AI that are scrubbing these things. It's really easy for them to find it. So as soon as they see $0 in a tax field, that's going to create an entry. As soon as they see a contact me in the public remarks, they're going to get flagged on that really quickly. This is a huge one, and it's good that I'm reminding you. Late reporting of sales. There's new MLS rules now. We have 24 hours on this next business day to report your listing as sold or sold conditional, irrespective of receiving the deposit or not. We have our own internal policy that we like to wait for the deposit and make sure it clears, but MLS has different rules. They want it reported within 24 hours, meaning if you sell a property, firm, or even conditional, you need to notify deal admin and the front desk right away because we have an obligation to report it to MLS as that status within 24 hours. So we'll still always be checking for deposits, but if your deposit is late or it's a weekend, like pay attention to that in your offers. Like don't agree to 24 hours if it's a Saturday and you can't get it until Monday because you need 24 hours still. So just be careful. In your agreements, there's other things you can do in amendments, like further sums or anything, but just make sure you have amendments paperwork to back up the timing of your deposits and make sure you get it to us ASAP.
Everybody knows what we're talking about, right? On the agreement of purchase sales, it says deposit shall be 24 hours. Just change that to 48 hours if you know you're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, so plan ahead. Don't try to get stuck, right, just because of writing. Marketing without consent. I think this is listing agents complaining with other people, but they're getting a lot of complaints from agents going to showings and things on the weekend and posting on Instagram saying, hello, like come follow me to this house. And they don't have any permission from anybody on being allowed to do that. So just a reminder, you have to have seller permission to be able to advertise the listing. And when it's sold, you need to have both parties permission to advertise that as well. So just keep that in mind when you're advertising. I have a feeling they're going to be watching social media a little bit more than they are currently. And this is a big one too, appointment no-shows. It works both ways, but when you do not show up to a scheduled appointment, you could get a fine for that. You have to cancel the showing before the time the appointment starts. You can't be like 15 minutes late and then cancel it on Broker Bay. The appointment's time already started, so you could get fined for that. It works the other way around too. If you have a listing that's sold and you're not allowing showings, you have to cancel those showings. You can't just assume that person knows you sold it. So you can't have them show up at the house and then say, oh, sorry, it's sold already. So it also works both ways. And then there's something new happening on Broker Bay. I haven't even told you guys about this. I don't know if anyone's noticed this, but it's going to be a little bit of a problem. When you do cancel and relists in Broker Bay, so let's say you have a listing, you've got a bunch of future showings on it, but you're going to do a relist at a new price in the middle. What used to happen is you would cancel and relist and all those showings would get moved over. I think what was happening is the properties were selling and those people were not being notified, so they were getting complaints of those showings not being canceled. So now it works the opposite. When you do a relist, all of those showings get canceled and then you have to rebook them in the new listing. So I don't know which problem was worse because I can kind of see it both ways. If you sell something and then the future ones don't get canceled because you just forgot. So now just be careful when you're doing a relist. We've tried different mechanisms to like trick the system into letting them move over, but it doesn't work no matter how we do it. And Broker Bay acknowledges that this is how it is going forward. So just keep in mind if you're doing a relist and you have active showings, just warn them, hey, your showing's gonna get canceled, we'll rebook it right away, and the girls will rebook it and reconfirm it right away. But anyways, so those are some MLS rules. There's a whole bunch of other stuff. We're gonna do a compliance course soon on FinTrack and MLS rules and all the rules of us as agents. So that will be very fun.
Has anybody had listings with no shows? Like not yourself, but other agents no show? And
Yeah.
and normally you just complain about it, you do anything about it, or?
Some people do.
If you made a complaint to RICO would fine the agent $6,000. If you made a complaint to TRREB, they'd fine you, I forget what it was.
I think it's like a 500 or 1,000, depending on
It's
how many times you've done
$1,000
it.
plus you gotta take a course.
Of course, yeah. Yeah. My recommendation is maybe don't report them right away, but I would make them known that that's an issue. Unless you want to go to their broker of record and have the broker of record give them a little note. Like, I'm not necessarily saying everyone should be fined and getting in trouble, but I do think we have an obligation to show people what the rules are and the consequences for sellers of when somebody doesn't show up. Like, it creates a customer service thing for you to have to navigate. So I don't think it would hurt to say, hey, I know you didn't show up. You want to acknowledge this or not? This is what the fine is. I'm not saying you all be tattletales and doing that, but I don't think it hurts to let them know or let the broker of record know, because there's a lot of unprofessionalism out there.
So you guys have our privacy policy, right? Lockbox privacy policy that your clients sign, right, when you take a listing, and in that we wrote words there, if you got it read or not. It says there, it says that people have booked appointments and sometimes they don't show up. So if you got a client that's real anal and really sort of whatever else, you've addressed it before you've taken the listing. You've taken the listing and say, look, sometimes they don't show up. They get caught up, run out of time, overbooked, whatever it might be, it happens. So rather than making a big federal case out of it, just you sort of tell them ahead of time that this may happen and it probably will happen. And when it does happen, you say, I told you so. So it's not like she comes after you. Like, and we've got clients that are really overpriced and not selling, and any little thing that goes wrong, it's your fault, right? So you try to diffuse those things and talk about it at the beginning.
Yeah, that's true.
Same thing with unlocked doors and stuff
Same
too.
thing.
Like let them know, like
Yeah.
agents are gonna be naughty. They're gonna leave your doors open. They
Use
might
the
use your
bathroom.
washrooms. They're gonna do things. Like I apologize in advance, but it's gonna happen. But
Yeah.
tell them you'll yell at them after. But just
Yeah, I
let them
know. They've been showing houses with their family there, and then the
Kids
little
gotta go
7-year-old
pee.
kid has to go to the washroom. And sorry, they're going to go to the washroom
Yeah,
They're gonna or a little old lady. Yeah.
in your house, right?
Yeah.
I booked the showings last week, and the agent gave me the instructions. Well, the office gave me the instructions. I have to open up the lockbox with the Bluetooth from the
Central.
Oh, yeah, they did talk about that last week.
Where
So-
was it?
Yeah, what area?
I think somewhere in Pickering area.
Oh.
Pickering Ajax. So Central Lock, it's called. It's what a lot of rural properties use. Not on TRREB board, but other boards had it mandatory that you had to use these
Yeah.
Bluetooth lock boxes. So basically, you download an app, and the code changes basically every hour for your showing. You won't know the code till an hour before your showing. You have to have Bluetooth turned on your phone. They are implementing it on the Toronto board. They are not making it mandatory. Thank God, because I can't imagine using an app for lock boxes right now in our urban market. But they are going to be selling them in the TRREB store. They are going to be, it is going to be an option in Realm to use Central Lock for your Toronto properties. I'm not recommending you do that.
Only share 1 day code then.
Like a 1 day code, right?
I've even seen
Yeah.
like each showing has a different code
Actually, it's showing
or hour code.
Yeah, but it exists.
There was
yeah.
a broker in Oshawa or in Durham that did that all the time. That all the listings used to have these lockboxes. I'm not
Yeah.
sure they're doing that anymore. I haven't heard any complaints from.
I just can't imagine, like, you're so busy and your clients are there and, like, you gotta, like, look at your phone and, like, I don't know. It seems complicated, but it might be the way.
And all like that.
That's what Sandeep was just saying.
Yeah, and like I hated it. I felt like I was having anxiety with every show.
You gotta get there.
I just didn't know all the information yet. And
Yeah.
sure enough, out of all the showings, one's got an issue. You're trying to get a hold of the
Oh, see? I don't want that. It's too complicated.
Stick to manual.
Close the box. By accident, before I put the key back in.
Oh shit.
Oh my God, I can't even imagine.
So for those at home, he's saying if you lock the box without putting the key back in, you can't get back into the box.
So then you gotta call the agent, you gotta figure it out. I'll meet you here. And, oh my gosh. Yeah, so you had a question or?
What if we space out the showings in a way that there's more chances of being early than late?
You still can't be early to a showing either, because then it's called trespassing. So whatever, book yourself an appropriate window. Like, take advantage of the 60-minute time slot so that you
A lot
can
of
take
people got
advantage
away
of
from that.
because you can call the office and request a custom 60
Or
minutes.
book 2 showings.
Or book 2 showings. Like, give yourself a window. But yeah, even coming early, we've had it
Do
where
not
it
do
was
that.
called trespassing. And I said, well, call the police then if it's so serious. Like,
Well,
trespassing, oh my God. Like,
Yeah, because the seller could be still in there. They could be in the shower. Like, don't go early.
these are like
to
vacant
these
properties.
things.
But yeah, you can't go
So
early either.
one of our agents showed up. I want to say half hour early.
It wasn't very
I want
much.
to say 15 minutes
Yeah.
early, but he showed up early, and the seller complained, and he got RICO, and he got a warning, and he has to do a course.
Always knock the door and shout.
No, don't.
So that
knock
so you
on-
guys,
no.
I can see
on
coming
the
late,
door?
right? He got there early.
Call the
about
agent
5.
and say,
Yeah.
hey, I'm here early.
Even if you are on time.
Even if you're on time.
On time,
yeah.
yes.
Knock the door.
Yeah,
Yeah,
knock on
but
the
going
door.
early, I still wouldn't recommend going to the door and knocking because that's still like,
No. Like even if you are on a right time.
yeah,
knock the door.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
of course, that's just
Say
common
hello, yes.
Yeah.
Knock the door, wave to the camera, say I'm here.
Put your card there. I'm here. I was here. Here's my
Yeah.
card. Don't let them question if you were there
Yeah.
or not.
It was an incident happened with me. I was on a swing. Everything was one time on a time slot. I got a confirmation. Whole house I saw. Only one bedroom was closed.
Oh,
and
gosh.
then I knocked, opened the door, and the lady was sleeping there. And she
Oh.
was shouting, "Oh my God, you are in my bedroom! What are you doing
Oh.
here? I will call police."
Was it tenanted?
Fortunately, I had 2-3 clients with me.
And you had a properly scheduled
And
appointment
I
and
told her that I have
Yeah, so
confirmation,
sorry.
appointment, this, and- Oh, I don't remember.
our job's so awkward sometimes.
What if you put 2 showings back to back?
Yeah.
30
I-
minutes?
yeah.
That's okay.
Is that okay?
Yes,
or-
yeah,
Are you
yeah,
getting
'cause
in
you-
trouble for not showing up at all?
No, you.
Sorry.
That's true.
Yeah, that's
Say that
true
again?
too.
So you book
Yeah.
a showing for 3 to 3:30 and then 3:30 to 4.
Yeah.
They're at 3:40.
I mean, I guess
You get in
it's,
trouble?
I would probably tell the agent, hey, I
Just-
booked 2
yeah.
showings so that I can have the window.
Yeah.
You're probably better to call the office and make it a 60-minute appointment. Like,
Yeah,
that's so
you're
low
right,
risk,
you're right.
but you could, yeah.
So-
Communication helps everything. Just tell the agent what you're doing.
I'm not sure. I hate giving this advice, but
Sometimes agent do not pick up the call.
Yeah.
Text them. Text,
So we have-
text,
we have-
text. Have everything in writing.
Yeah.
we had one agent that booked like 8 appointments or something in that one day, and obviously he said, "Well, I booked 8 appointments there. I didn't have time to get to the last one." Guilty,
Yeah.
right?
Before time.
Yeah.
So you should have canceled before because he knew he was going to be late, right? So he should have canceled it.
Yeah.
You should cancel.
Yeah, they don't care if it was non-malicious or unintentional or you made a mistake. Like, a fine is a fine. Even as a broker, they don't care. I'm still responsible. Even if you didn't do it unintentionally, like, it's still my fault.
Yeah.
They don't, yeah, so.
It's our fault for not educating.
It's our fault. That's why I say these things so I can record it, so I can tell TRREB at 1:15 p.m. on Monday, May 12th. I told everybody
Yeah.
about the rules, and I can reference.
That's
that
why a lot of those
correctly.
situations I prefer text message because then you have it in writing. Because then if you go to RICO jail, they're not going to hear what that conversation was. So I actually recommend texting for sure.
But some are really very unprofessional and
Yeah, of
they
course. Yeah.
decide intensely they don't care.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, for sure. Yeah. In that note too, if you go show up at a showing and your client says, "I don't want to see it," and you're like at the driveway, go in the house and put your
Put the
card,
card
in
there.
to show proof that you were there. Don't just say, "Oh, my client says I didn't want to see it." Again, guilty. They don't care. You didn't show the house. So.
Wild.
Yeah. Our job's fun. So tell us how to make some money now.
Let's see. Okay, so I found a couple different articles. One was what sellers think about agents, commissions, and cash buyers in 2025. So more than half of today's home sellers have seriously considered cutting out the agent completely, and many feel like they have strong reasons to do so. So a lot of sellers out there right now, they believe that they can get a fast cash offer and move on quicker. But a lot of these sellers actually walk away with regrets. So that fast path often means leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table, navigating the process alone, or realizing too late that what they really needed was expert guidance. So here's some of the things that you guys need to know about shifting seller preferences where they want to have a cash buyer. So this is mostly like talking about having cash buyers versus like getting, I guess, someone coming to your door and saying, hey, forget putting your house on the market. I'm a cash buyer. I'm going to buy it. You can get the agent out of it completely. So there's a lot of sellers right now that think that they'd rather do that because then they sell them on not having to prep their house for the sale. You don't have to deal with an agent. I'm going to buy your house as is with cash, and that's very enticing to a lot of sellers right now. But we can help them get away from that because we as agents know that that's not necessarily always the best offer to take, even though it does make it a little bit easier for them. It doesn't actually always work out for them. So these days, sellers actually want options. They don't always understand the trade-off. So they think this is a great, easy deal because they don't really understand what they're missing out on. So 52% of homeowners have considered selling without the real estate agent because they can skip commissions, fast-track the sale, and they don't have to deal with repairing any of those things. Life changes may be happening, so this is why they like it, but they don't realize what they're giving up. So of those sellers that did go that route, 51% of them who went with the cash buyer didn't actually get the profit that they hoped for. So these are things to point out to your sellers that are considering that. Cash buyers offer just 67.5% of a home's after repair value. 57% of sellers want a higher price, want as high of a price as possible, but 36% say that they would accept a below market offer just to save on commissions, not realizing that agent fees on average is just 2.74%. So they actually are losing a lot of money. They think like our commission's like $200,000 for some reason. So they're selling their houses much less when our commission's really not that big at the end of the day. And then there's 62% that were willing to cut the price by 5% or more. So a lot of the sellers that choose these cash buyer offers, typically what they prioritize in their sale is they say profits, ease, speed, saving money, and support. But there's a growing trust gap right now. So in 2025, only 63% of sellers said that they believe real estate agents are essential to the sales process. Last year it was 73%, so we're actually down 10% in the seller's confidence in using an agent. 83% of sellers who used an agent would actually recommend them. 61% of sellers think cash buyer companies are scams, but 65% of those who used those cash buyers would do it again. So it's very interesting what would happen. But 27% of those sellers who went this route regret it and nearly double the rate of agent-led sales. So a lot of the time they do regret doing it after the fact. So if you guys can point out a lot of this stuff to them, maybe you can prevent them from going that route if you can. So what we need to do is we need to show them what's possible, walk them through those options, and help them make the smartest decision possible. So in 2025, trust is what sells. So Claire, I know you probably have something on that one.
You guys know what she's talking about, right? You ever seen those signs
Those
out there?
letters?
Cash for your house?
Yeah.
Cash for your home, this is what she's talking about. Or the guys do the handwritten letter saying, I got a buyer for your house, you don't have to fix anything, buy it as is, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So it seems appealing, but they're losing out on money because they think that they're saving on the commission when most of our commissions are only, let's just say 4.5%. And they're losing a lot more than that just by going that route. But the sellers just think ease, quick, get everyone out of the way. So if you guys can convince them that you can sell their house for a lot more money, even though they got to do a few repairs and pay you commission, they're going to make more money at the end of the day. But there is some situations where it does work out better for them because maybe their house is a hoarder house, something like that, and it might cost them a lot of time and all that. So sometimes it does work out better, but obviously we don't want them that route.
So as salespeople, you really have to be a salesperson. You have to listen what's going on. You want to talk first?
Yeah, on the similar ground, just 10 minutes back, before our meeting start, I got a message from admin or front desk that call this guy, he wants to sell the house. You don't receive such messages that somebody wants to sell. I don't know the person.
Yeah.
So I called him just 10 minutes back.
That's too easy.
He said, Sandeep, you sold a house on Markham, High Lane on 1.7. I understood from the seller that you came with 2 or 3 buyers. So which means you sold it, you still have 2 buyers. So can you come and help?
They're your buyers, yeah.
I was excited. Okay, there is something interesting. So I said, but normally why you want to do that? He said, I don't want to go through the showing and everything.
Yep.
I said, but you put it on MLS, you will have more, millions of buyers.
Yep.
Then he opened up, he said, I am a realtor, but I am not active.
Oh my God.
What he's trying to do, what I feel, is he just wants to understand the listing price.
Yes, and the marketing strategy. Yeah.
Wow.
So let me give you two quick stories.
Yeah, here's a good one.
Two quick stories.
I know where you're going with that.
Okay, so we had a listing agent who you've heard the story before. It's nothing new. Did the presentation of the client. Things went great. Client, he says the house was beautiful, move-in ready. It was like a HG, what do I call it, Homes and Gardens house, ready to go, right? And the client asked the agent, "What do you think about staging?" He says, "Your house is beautiful. It doesn't need staging at all." That's great. Finished the appointment. Then the next day, he finds out that they listed with somebody else. Why? Because they offered staging. So as a salesperson, you just don't give what your opinion is. You got to ask them. When they say to you, "What about staging?" You say, "What do you think about staging?" And they say, "I think it's important." So do I. You understand? Reverse case. Somebody who, I can tell your story.
This happened last week.
Somebody had a dumper house. What do you want to call them? Houses wasn't up to speed.
Yeah.
Listing agent went in there and said, "You got to spend $75,000, and you can do this, do that, and that,
Staging and
and staging and painting and carpet and flooring, and you're going to make yourself another $150,000. Like 75, you're going to make 150." They listed instead with somebody else. Why? Because all they want to do is list the property and sell it. They didn't want to do all that crap.
They listed it for
So
$100,000
they listed
less.
$150,000 less, and they listed the property and they sold the property. Bob's your uncle.
Yeah.
The client did
Sometimes
not want
time is more
staging
important.
or doing
So
work
your
or-
opinion means nothing. Okay, you have to ask the client, what do you think? What do you want? I just want to get rid of this place. I don't want to do anything. I want movers. I don't want to book appointments for anybody hammering or painting or doing anything. I just want to get rid of it.
Great.
No problem. Sign here. They're done.
Yep.
Yeah,
So-
by talking to
So
them,
don't.
you
So
find out.
you
Yeah,
gotta
you have to ask them
talk to
questions,
the
yeah.
client, see what's going on. Just because you know if they spent 75 grand, they're going to make another 150 grand. You know that, but they don't care, right? They just want to sell
They
it.
don't have 75,000 right now.
They don't.
They may not have. I know people that have gone out of the way and they've actually gone to got a line of credit for $75,000 and like did it, and spent like 6 months getting it all done. Like, and it could have just been sold the first day.
Yep, save some money. It's funny, I got caught on that sales tactic last week. The client said, "Do you do open houses?" And of course I said, "Do you like open houses?" And then she said, "No, I think they're stupid." I'm like, "Me too." She's like, "What if I said I liked them?" I'm like, "Then I like them too." And she was like
I love
laughing. She was like a young girl, but I was laughing because like she kind of caught me on it. She's like, "Well, what if I said I like them?" I'm like, "I love them."
And that's a good move too. We said that
Yeah.
before. They say, "What do you think about open houses?" Open houses are great. We'll put it out there. We'll do it every Saturday, every Sunday. We'll do it Monday, Tuesday, and then after you've done your pitch, they say, "I hate open houses. All it is for nosy neighbors."
Yeah.
So now you just cut your head off.
Yeah. But yeah, it's
So,
good to
so
ask
listen,
them.
listen to them.
No,
Like,
sales
always-
is all
always-
about
it's just-
asking.
It's all sales
I
tips.
think it's more asking questions than it is telling them anyways. Asking, probing, figuring out their motivation, what makes them tick, what don't they like, what they like, and you just adapt yourself to them, right?
Yeah, we're chameleons.
Yes.
Okay, I'll do one more. 5 ways to help homeowners build wealth. So for most people, their home is their largest financial asset, but a lot of homeowners don't actually manage it like one. We just kind of treat it like a place that we're moving into, we're living, we're growing a family. So when you help your clients actually think strategically about their property as a long-term investment, you actually then become more than just their agent, and now you just become a trusted advisor for them. So here's the payoff for you guys when you start to kind of switch from agent to trusted advisor is that they're going to start to come back to you for every real estate decision, whether it's financially or even just like hiring out contractors, stuff like that. They start to come to you about everything to do with their house. Then they start to refer you to their friends and family, and you start to create a network of homeowners who actually trust you. So these are 5 ways to help your homeowners build wealth. And these are different things that you guys can do to actually build deeper trust with your clients over the years. And we talk about these things all the time. But one would be doing an annual property review. So every year, check in with your past clients, offer them an annual review, whether you're offering them a CMA. Like us girls, we used to do actual mail outs of the CMA to the clients, which is manageable for like the first couple of years that you're doing that. But then as your client list gets a little bit bigger, you kind of have to think a little bit more strategically. So us, for example, every quarter, we send out a quarterly home evaluation. We talked all about this last week, actually. We had a remarketer in. Did any of you guys attend that session, the home evaluation one? No? Amazing.
I think some did.
So what we do is every quarter we send our past clients an email that says, "What's your house worth?" as the title. And it's got a link to our instant online home evaluation link just on our website. So our past clients will get an email from us on our newsletter. They'll click it. They find out what their house is worth. We get a notification when they pop in. So then we can do a follow-up saying, "Hey, I saw that you wanted to know what your house is worth. Do you have any questions? So doing some sort of biannual or annual property review with your clients will really help them just kind of know that you're staying on top of it. And then also talking about different potential equity building investment opportunities. So if they see that they've made money, then you can take it a step further and say, hey, have you ever thought about buying an investment property with any of that equity or doing anything with it? So it's just kind of repositioning you as a trusted advisor and then opening more doors to get more referrals from these people as well. Other things you guys can do is do an impact analysis on neighborhood activity. So again, maybe every once a year or so, you can send your clients like recent sales, price per square foot comparison, send them any active listings in the area. So maybe you're like, hey, this one just popped up in your neighborhood, your neighbor just sold. So just kind of staying on top of what's going on in the neighborhood and sending any of your past clients, just things that pop up. Any noticeable price changes. Again, this just shows that you're the local expert and you're actually monitoring things that are going on even after the sale that they did. This one was home insurance, but I think that's home insurance renewal reminders. That might be a little bit more American than anything, because I don't think we usually remind people to do their insurance. I feel like that must be a U.S. thing.
They have ancillary businesses in the States where the agent's kind of part of the home insurance.
Yeah, so we won't do that. Financial protection guidance. So this one was a good one too. We've been talking a lot about retirements and stuff like that, but maybe a few months after your clients have purchased a property, you can reach out to them and say, now that you're settled in, it's smart to think about protecting your new asset either through a will, trust, or some sort of insurance policy that ensures that it's handled the way that you want. So after your young families have purchased a home, maybe you can connect them with a family lawyer, stuff like that, to start talking about wills. Again, it's just showing that you're giving them a different level of support and you're helping them with real life planning. Teaching them to think like investors. So if you guys are also investors and you know how to use equity in your home and how to buy like rental properties and stuff like that, or helping them buy properties for their kids, this is just showing that you've got some expertise, and then they may come back to you to ask you for some more financial advice. So if you are an agent that does disappear after closing, you guys just sell a house and you ghost, don't do that. Maybe think of different strategies. Like if you guys are always wondering what to say and you're not the type of client or agent that wants to reach out to your past clients to check in on their personal matters, you don't really care how the kids are doing, all that stuff, maybe you could think of them and start reaching out more specifically about the real estate if you're really uncomfortable talking about more personal stuff with your clients. So you're just helping them build wealth and also getting more referrals that way. So just some ideas. I won't push it too much longer. We've got some hungry men over here. So I'll get right to it. We've got Realtor Quest this week on Wednesday and Thursday. What's next week? Oh, next week I've got Green Shields coming in.
Oh, nice. Good. You bring all your complaints.
Especially for these guys over here who ask me questions every week on Green Shield and think that I am the CEO of Green Shield. I am not. So if you guys have questions about your health insurance and all that, I'm bringing in Green Shield. Please ask away in the chat. I should have a frequently asked questions bot here.
Are you guys amazed at how fast I can answer questions? Like it's always just like right there.
What do you mean?
Like for any benefits or anything?
Oh yeah.
Like it's because it's in the group already. Like I'm not like recreating anything.
This is crazy. But yeah, so that'll be next week. So if you guys don't know how to claim benefits, you don't know how it works, come to that session so you guys can learn a little bit more about that. Do you want to do May 30th or no?
Yeah, I would have.
May 30th, we have a special thing. At our last session, we talked all about health and stuff like that. A lot of people see that we go to Pilates a lot now lately, and we've really been enjoying it in Pickering. So we actually booked a private class for whoever wants to come. It's on May 30th at 1 o'clock?
Yeah.
1 o'clock?
Yeah.
It's an hour session. I think we have 4 spots left.
Yeah.
We put it out to the WhatsApp group. If you guys are interested and you want to try out Reformer Pilates in Pickering, we're all going to go together. It's boys and girls, all ages. No experience necessary. So if you guys want to sign up, I think it's $60 for that class.
We'll prepay it for you and put it on your expenses. We'll call it a training event.
Yeah.
Which will help with you know what. And we want to do more like walking. I think we want like maybe some trash pickup days.
Yeah, we're thinking this summer, like usually we tend to slow down on the training in the summertime. I don't bring as many speakers. So we're thinking maybe on Wednesdays we might do some more like let's go for walks. Let's do some garbage pickups. Like we might do some more health and wellness stuff this summer with you guys versus just constantly throwing real estate at your faces. So keep an eye out for that as well.
Some of the guys in the group are planning a golf type thing as well. So that's all in the health and wellness community in our WhatsApp group. So we made a separate community for that stuff.
Yeah. Cool.
Some new agents. Some of them might be online. I'm not sure. I don't know if I already announced them. I might have before. But Rick Briscoe of Center 21 Briscoe, we just joined forces together, and he brings another agent named Karen Raymond with him. Bryce, I don't think we've announced Bryce unless you did when I was away. Somebody else named Brent, and then Larry, and anyone else that I'm missing.
We had Marissa, but she was here, so we got to introduce Marissa.
So welcome to all those people.
Alexa.
Alex Burt.
Oh, Alex.
Oh, Alex Burt.
Alex, yes.
Like,
My
friend Alex is also joining us as well.
That's good.
Cool.
Any listings anyone wants to talk about? Any tales from the street? Anything online? No? We're all ready for a good week? Yeah.
Alex has got some.
Have a renovated one-bedroom condo in a month and a half.
Nice.
Yeah.
Alex will have a 1-bedroom available soon.
It seems like it's an office project if anyone wants to go help. I feel like everyone's been there demoing it.
It's great. I had a hockey injury, so I needed some help demoing. Firmed up on Monday.
Michael was the #1 call, right?
Yeah.
Injured on Thursday.
Aw.
Michael actually did help a lot of.
I saw him hammering something.
It's good that you guys help each other. That's good. Nothing online either? Nothing Claire, you're all good? Okay, we'll see you at Realtor Quest then. Have a good week.